Hi, I'm Martin Felsen. Welcome to CityDesign, the channel where we explore how we shape cities and how cities shape us. Today's question is, can cities planned from scratch become utopias? I'll start with a couple personal experiences that offer a way into this question. Two early encounters drove me to become an architect and urban designer. The first, riding the New York City subway as an 8-year-old. It felt like freedom. We went everywhere, anytime we wanted, and everyone's welcome in the subway. I can remember this sense of freedom, even at such an early age. It was intoxicating. The second, very different experience, riding the DisneyWorld monorail. It felt like the future. Clean, smooth, precise. It moved in and out of buildings with ease. I'd seen the future before, mostly on TV, but had never been in the future until this first ride. Freedom and the future. I didn't know it then, but I had encountered two different urban worlds, the spontaneous organic city and the polished planned city. Organic cities, like New York City or Chicago, grow over time. They're messy, collaborative, and constantly evolving. Master planned cities start with a big vision. They're designed from scratch, often on undeveloped farmland. Master planned cities aim to build the future today. These two urban models might seem like opposing realities, but most cities are a mix of both. These are places where freedom and the future are negotiated, sometimes block by block. DisneyWorld is one of the most iconic master planned environments we've ever built. It offers a sanitized version of the organic city. For millions of people, it feels like a real city, only better. And EPCOT is Disney World's purest expression of a fully planned and controlled urban environment. There are actually two EPCOTs. The first is EPCOT Center, the theme park. Originally envisioned as a permanent World's Fair, it celebrates human innovation and international culture. Its iconic geodesic sphere, Spaceship Earth, recalls the monumental perisphere from the 1939 New York World's Fair. Today, renamed simply EPCOT, it's one of the most visited places in the world. The second EPCOT was never built. Conceived in the 60s by Walt Disney himself, it stood for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. This EPCOT wasn't a theme park. It was a plan for a real city. Built from scratch on vacant land, it was imagined as a fully functioning, future-oriented utopian community powered by new technologies and American ingenuity. Walt Disney introduced this original EPCOT in a remarkably compelling short film. It's still available today. Here he is.
Everything in EPCOT will be dedicated to the happiness of the people who will live, work, and play here, and those who come here from all around the world to visit our living showcase. We don't presume to know all the answers. In fact, we're counting on the cooperation of American industry to provide their very best thinking during the planning and the creation of our experimental prototype community of tomorrow. And most important of all, when EPCOT has become a reality and we find the need for technologies that don't even exist today, it's our hope that EPCOT will stimulate American industry to develop new solutions that will meet the needs of people expressed right here in this experimental community.
Walt Disney believed that the stubborn problems facing cities require bold, experimental solutions. EPCOT would be that solution, a living blueprint for how future communities could work best. So, what would it look like? It was planned as a radial city, organized in concentric circles with a downtown core at its center. The core, an enclosed, climate-controlled bubble, would house shops and commercial offices and hotels like a futuristic indoor mall. From this central hub, the city would radiate outward along transit corridors. Surrounding the core would be high-density housing, then a ring of parks, schools, and community buildings. Beyond that, a wide band of suburban neighborhoods would ring the city. Transportation connected everything. Monorails and people movers ran above ground, linking each area. Meanwhile, cars would travel below ground, leaving the surface free for pedestrians to move safely and comfortably. The radial plan draws directly from Ebenezer Howard's Garden City model from the late 1800s. Once EPCOT reached 20,000 residents, a second EPCOT would be built nearby, linked by monorails and people movers, extending the network outward. Unfortunately, Walt Disney passed away before his original vision for EPCOT could be realized. At the end of the EPCOT film, he says,
I believe we can build a community that more people will talk about and come to look at than any other area in the world. And with your cooperation, I'm sure this experimental prototype community of tomorrow can influence the future of city living for generations to come.
Although EPCOT was never built as Walt Disney envisioned, his utopian ideas continue to influence planned communities. For example, in the 90s, Disney launched a new master planned community in Florida named Celebration. Like EPCOT, it was designed and built from scratch. To shape the community, Disney partnered with architects, planners, educators, and technology leaders. Celebration shared EPCOT's infrastructure-first approach. The master plan included a fully functioning town center, schools, a library, a post office, recreational zones, and a medical center. Miles of fiber optic intranet cables were installed, as were miles of trails linking parks and neighborhoods. But the design of the town wasn't futuristic, it was traditional. Rather than experimental, Celebration leaned on time-tested historical design principles: walkable blocks, mixed-use neighborhoods, varied housing types, and a network of public spaces that encourage social interaction and community engagement. The buildings followed an architectural pattern book. Houses came in prescribed styles: classical, Victorian, colonial revival, and so on. Despite design limitations, there's still more variety in Celebration than typical American suburbs. Color, cladding, porches, and ornamental details are customizable. And unlike most subdivisions, Celebration was built all at once. It didn't have to wait decades for good schools or public amenities. Disney has stayed involved to make sure its vision endures. So why did people move to Celebration? Many were drawn by the desire to be part of something new, try new ideas, take a risk, and help shape a community from the ground up. The first residents shared a core belief in investing in their families, especially their children. Celebration was built with kids in mind. The schools, initially developed by Disney, emphasized hands-on learning and self-directed exploration. The well-lit streets and nature trails were designed for safe wandering and play. For many parents, the idea that their children can get a head start through education remains central to the promise of the American dream, an ideal that Celebration attempts to embody. Building a utopia requires both a site and a set of ideals. For Disney, building utopia means creating a world where children can learn, grow, and imagine a better future. Neither EPCOT nor Celebration turned out exactly as Walt Disney imagined, but Walt's legacy lives on in the children who experience his urban dreams, places that in their own way try to blend personal freedom with a glimpse of the future. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying City Design, please like and subscribe. See you next episode.